Welcome back to the channel, you awesome people of the Commonwealth. Welcome back to Fixing Up the Commonwealth series here at Sunshine Tidings, and today we're going to do a fairly quick video. I've been looking at how the settlement's been progressing lately, and I've been looking at this marketplace in particular and thinking it really needs an overhaul and a rejig. So that's what we're going to do today, guys. I hope you enjoy this one. It's not overly complicated, but I think it will make a huge difference to the overall look of this central area in the settlement. So let's get into it. Now, I wasn't going to share this, but I thought if you wanted to do something similar, I wanted to give you some ideas of how you might go about it. So hence why we've put this up on the channel. Of course, the first thing we've got to do is get rid of all the stuff we've previously built. So we'll take all these roofs off, and we might just speed that up a little bit. Maybe not, because it's not going to take that long. Get rid of all these support poles and all that kind of stuff. So I did go back to Diamond City and have a look around and just try and get some ideas how it looks over there. Now there is a central, we'll get to that in a sec. Sorry guys, I'm still waiting for my coffee to kick in today. We might as well just I'll talk about what I was going to talk about in a minute. As dog meat's having a bit of a roll across there. Get a couple of things out the way so we can build this. So if you've been to Diamond City, you would see there is a central kind of area, or a central kind of, I don't know what you would call it, this structure, I guess is the right word, that sits in the middle of the marketplace. If you haven't seen that before, go and have a look at Diamond City. So we don't have that. I don't have that in any of the mods, so I've got to create something that will act as a central structure, and I had to spend a lot of time looking around to find something that I could use. And finally I found this structure I use for the water tower, and I've used this before in my Nordhagen beach settlement. I think this is actually for sticking the windmill power on top of, but I'm going to use it in a slightly different way today. So get that into the right place, and I'm going to put this water tower module on top, which produces 10 water. So it has a practical application, and we're going to glitch it in there like that. Now I think I show it a little bit later. I do make that a bit bigger. It's a bit too small at this point, so I actually use place anywhere and make that slightly bigger. And you can see you can shift this around and do all kinds of stuff with it until you get it in the right place, like that. Unfortunately the water tower doesn't move with it. Get that into place and just drop it like that. And now you can build everything off of this structure. And like I said, it's not an overcomplicated build today. It's pretty straightforward in actual fact. And so let's get into the decoration part of it. So I had a good look around to see if I could find the same kind of tents or coverings that they have in Diamond City. The only thing I could find close is the ones that USO offer us. They're a bit, and I'm not quite sure what you would use those for, but anyway, I'm trying to use some different materials that I haven't used before. There we go, those ones, and those ones. Not perfect, but they and what I find with this build is that I have to put in. Now originally I used these ones, and you see these pieces sticking out. It wasn't working for me, so I decided to try this. Now what I find here is I have to actually use place anywhere and switch off the collision to get these to work. Now if you're doing it and you don't have place anywhere, use your rug and your pillar to do the same thing. Obviously there's a limitation how high you can get these with the supports that they have. So I'd originally put these in, they just weren't working for me, so I decided to change it up and do something a little bit different. Now I'm getting a lot of frame rate, and I'm finding that a lot with USO lately. you know, a huge frame rate drops when I use their some of their items. So you can see I'm switching off the collision. I'll put one into place and then I'll speed up the process and maybe give you a little bit of music. And you can see they're not perfect, but I think it's the closest you're going to find for both functional properties plus the overall look that you need to achieve. So get that first one into place because it's going to determine the whole rest. So let's speed this up, a little bit of music, and we'll come back in a minute. Well, we stopped a bit abruptly. Okay, so we got most of that done. Pretty simple stuff. Like I said, it's more an aesthetic than really doing a build. The only problem is I've got one gap there, so I've got to fill that gap. And I think the best thing we can find is probably that one there to fill that little gap there. Now, I guess you could use those same coverings just to overlap them, and they'll do the same thing, but I'll just use this one. You don't actually really notice it in the end when you're wandering around here, so I do, because I see it because I've done the build. But the only thing I don't like about this is stuff glitches through it a little bit too much. But anyway, I mean, that's only me being critical on my builds, so it's not overly not a big problem, I don't think. And that really is all there is to it. It's not too hard to do. If you want to have a central area for your settlement, it's actually quite an easy process. Like I said, I thought it was important for me just to show you maybe my idea of replicating it. One of the big things though is you'll see kind of those corners there don't have support, so you're going to have to come up with some kind of idea for a support. So I'm just having a quick look at how the overall look, and sometimes it's good to do this. See how they're overlapping a little bit, which is not too bad. So I'm just doing a little bit of fine tuning here, and then we'll cut to the tour, which is this is probably the shortest. So you can see just to the right there is I don't know why they do that. There's like a little area that's unsupported. It's like a little ring, and I understand why they do that. Why wouldn't you put these poles all the way around these canvases? But anyway, not to worry. Really just a case of putting everything back into place and then doing a little bit of decoration. So often in these cases it's all the little details that make it. Now for some reason the lights were being a bit weird today. They're lighting up, but they're not actually showing as though they're illuminated. So I spent a lot of time trying to fix that. Now if you've been to Diamond City, you would have seen this kind of thing where they kind of group these particular little lights together, and in 3 or 4 groups of little 3 and 4s, and tier them and do all kinds of things. And it just, those little details is what's going to add to the overall look of your settlement and your build. So just a couple of ideas. So let's go to the tour. Next week we'll be back on the building good and proper. I'll have a really good build for you next week. Like I said to you earlier when I was doing the radio, I got ahead of myself case and fallout. There you go, mate. I've made it a little storage area. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it sort of fits with the settlement. And here we go. I've done a heck of a lot of decoration, a lot of lights hanging everywhere. You know, really worked on the noodle bar vibe of this area, and spent a lot of time doing a bit of decoration in the kitchen here. And I think it compared to what was here, I'm really pleased with the way it is turned out. So guys, thanks for supporting this series. Thanks for supporting the channel. A like rating is always appreciated. I love to read all your comments and ideas. Please continue to give me your ideas, because that's the idea of this particular series. See, I've done a bit of work on the butchers now too. And we will catch you next time on Gaming for XP. See ya.